This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the February meeting of the Missouri Evergreen Catalogers. Today we have a number of things to talk about, and specifically, really excited to share more about our cataloging certification. Um, Going ahead and jumping right into our news, just have some updates regarding uh, new member libraries and when they'll be joining us. So Reynolds County, they did go live on January 20th, or at least their Centerville branch did. And if you remember, their library was not originally automated, so they are kind of will be joining us branch by branch. The Ellington branch should have gone live on February 10th. That was last Thursday. And then Bunker, Lesterville, and Oates should be joining us into the spring. We also have Rawls County, who is joining us on March 24th. And another reminder, as new libraries join us that are previously automated, like Rawls County, we will be having a sort of cataloging freeze, specifically just to deletions and merges of our bibliographic records. So from the week of, or during the week of the 14th through the 18th, we will not be able to merge any bib records or delete any of those from the database. You'll still be able to add new items, move items, and so on. It just won't be able to delete the whole bib record itself. I will try to send out a reminder the Friday before, and the March 14th actually should be our next meeting. So hopefully during that meeting we'll serve as another reminder not to take those actions during that week. And then, of course, the other big news is our cataloging certification. To anybody who joined us last Thursday during the general membership meeting, we tried to highlight what that would be looking like and talked a little bit about it then. But hopefully today, I was hoping we could sit down and look through what all that would entail, talk about the process, and see what would happen in the future with our recertification, or at least mention that. So the cataloging certification itself, as we've mentioned, will be in two parts. There is a basic level and an advanced level. And all this is explained or will be explained on the Missouri Evergreen website. It looks like our certification page isn't quite up to date yet, but I'll try to make sure that we can get that taken care of by the end of today. Um, So I do actually have the text that should go on the website here, so we can kind of look at that together. Let me see if I can zoom in a little. Essentially, it's going to explain, the basic level is going to be for staff members who will primarily be looking at the record and then adding and removing items. These are not individuals who generally will be merging things, editing the MARC record itself. Mostly, these are just our copy catalogers who add items or move them if that is what's needed. And then advanced is going to be for individuals who will modify the MARC records, add things, remove things, merge, import brand new records if needed. Pretty much all the main responsibilities of being an original cataloger. So those are the different levels. As kind of outlined in the Missouri Evergreen cataloging policy, each library is expected to have at least one advanced cataloger. So if you're the only cataloger at your library, that would be you. And what that process will look like for each of those levels. If you're an advanced cataloger, of course, you'll have to do the basic level and then the advanced level. And that process for each of those is pretty simple. You would essentially go to our website landing page, and then you'd scroll down to the level that you need to work on. There will be a link there that will direct you to the training document for the basic level, and then a link down below that will link you out to the document for the advanced level, as well as the links below each of those will send you off to the accompanying training videos. Those are also linked within the videos, kind of where they are appropriate. So as you're reading about how to add items, there will be a video that links you out to YouTube showing you how to add items. Oh, my apologies, my phone is ringing. Um, as I was saying, within those documents, it'll link you out directly so that while you're reading about one thing, you can actually see the video and see how that happens in tandem. Um, but if you ever wanted to go back and just review those videos on their own, these links send you directly to those playlists on YouTube for review. So I see a message in the chat here. Scroll down. Charity asks if we will be getting notes for the meeting. Yes, I try to send out those notes shortly after the meeting. So hopefully at the end of today, you'll be getting the notes. Basically, I'll update the agenda with the information that we've discussed. And then, of course, the recording of the meeting will also be available. So if you ever need to go back to the recording, it'll be available on YouTube soon. Okay, so as you're working through that document, you'll be reading through the things. There might be, depending on which level you're on and where you are in that training, there will be links that link you out to maybe additional readings or other things to review and gain some knowledge from those other sources. So you work through that, you read through what you need to read through and watch those videos. And then at the end of the document, there is a section that kind of tests your skills in a way. It will have you working through some practical work. So it might ask you to navigate to this place and take a screenshot of what you found, or add an item in the test server and take a screenshot of what you found, and put all of those into a document that you will just send on to our consortium cataloger. And we do have that email listed so that you can email him directly. Or if you need, or if for some reason you can't find his email, or if you just need an easy email to remind yourself, you can send that to our Cat Help email, which is cathelp@moevergreenlibraries.org. Either way, someone will be able to review that submission, look at the work that you've done, and basically give you a response saying, yes, you've completed the basic training, and then we will be able to record that into our local log saying, so-and-so completed basic training on this date. That way we have a record of who's completed everything, and you'll be done for that time period. And then again, like I mentioned, there is a recertification requirement in our policy, and we will be working on the details of exactly what that looks like. So as we try to outline in the content for that webpage, the basic cataloging we're hoping should be around 8 hours minimum. I know that sounds like a lot, especially with this being brand new and all of us needing to do this together. But that really covers a great amount of information and really make sure everyone has a really the foundational knowledge that they need to work in Missouri Evergreen and follow those best practices and procedures. So it's really a comprehensive program and it's really wonderful. Greg has done a great job of compiling a lot of that information and finding lots of resources that are going to be really helpful to you and other Missouri Evergreen catalogers. So, and again, with that, we'll also be giving you a lot of time to get that done. So once all the information's up on the website, I will of course send out an email letting you know that it's actually available. And then from there, we are giving everyone 6 months to kind of get through all this for the first time. So that should give us until, what did I say here? That should be August. So hopefully everyone will be able to get through this before August. I know we all work on different schedules and have different amounts of time available to complete different tasks, which is why we wanted to give you a bunch of time. So hopefully by August, everyone will be able to have this completed. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the recertification is something that should happen every 2 years. The committee is going to see how the initial launch of our certification program works, see what works, what didn't work, and then hopefully put together some recommendations about where this should be going forward and how this can change to make up for those recertifications. Is this something that we can offer a variety of options to be recertified? Do we need to make sure that everyone's consuming the exact same content every 2 years? What options, what works best for, or what can work best for people in different situations? So that is kind of what we will be exploring, looking forward into the recertification part of that process. Um, so I know that is a lot of information, just thrown at you all at once. Oh, and advanced cataloging, uh, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to cover a little more the more complex portions of cataloging, actually working in the MARC record, creating your own MARC record like from scratch, merging, overlaying, importing, all those things that require a little bit more in-depth knowledge. And because of that, some of those videos are a little bit longer, some of that content might take a little bit longer to get through. So the advanced portion might be about 10 hours, we're thinking. I see some comments, sorry. Yep, I see some questions about, does this all have to be done at once? Certainly not. I've actually been trying to work through some of the basic training, and I'm about 2 hours in, kind of doing it piecemeal here and there. Do a little bit of reading here, maybe watch an accompanying video when it suits you. You definitely don't have to do this all in one go. Um, And then somebody asks, will the basic cataloging be enough for those who don't have any background in cataloging? I certainly believe it will. It gives you a really foundational understanding of why do we catalog, what's the point of it, what are the MARC tags, what do those mean? It breaks those down really at a really detailed level. So hopefully all that information should cover everything you need to know to really get started.
If I can jump in, the assumption that I made when I created the course was I was creating it for people that either had no training or very little training, whether it was formal training or OJT about cataloging. That's how I approached it. So it is very basic, but it is, I would say, dense. There's a lot of information in a short amount of time. And the whole reason for giving everybody 6 months is so that you could do, maybe an hour one day, and then 5 days later, you do another hour. You'll have plenty of time to get all of this done.
Exactly. And I think that, the document itself, like Greg mentioned, it's dense, but it's also really, it has a lot of images and screenshots and a lot of helpful diagrams. So it's not just a block of text that you're reading for 50 pages. Hold on, let me go ahead and bring one of those up so that everyone can see.
I also literally teach you the test. So if anybody's really stressed out about the whole certification thing, don't be. Everything that you have to do in certification, I've gone over either in the text or in the videos to a great degree. Also to let everybody know, this is not static at this point. This is totally dynamic. And I'd really like some people to go through it if they can, either a section at a time or a couple of pages at a time or whatever, and give some feedback on it, because we would certainly like to make it a lot better for everybody to understand and use. So if you've got any kind of feedback at all, please let me know and we can go in and modify it for everybody else.
Definitely, yeah, I agree that this is an iterative process. This is our first version of this, but I'm sure it will not be the last. There's definitely ways that I'm sure we'll find that we could improve this. So yes, definitely do not hesitate to reach out to us to let us know that maybe this portion of the training could have been more detailed or less detailed, or whatever sort of feedbacks that you come up with as you're going through it. But as you can see, it is essentially a PDF document, and as you go through, you'll be reading through. There's links out to our policy and other essential things. We have our table of contents here to kind of give you an idea of what's going to be covered during this process. Um, as you can see, the basic training is a 59-page document, so it's definitely not a light read. But like I mentioned, as we scroll through here, there's some really helpful things like this wonderful kind of glossary explaining all of our acronyms. Those are, can be a real pain point for us, especially for somebody who is brand new. We have, links out to some helpful resources that we've used in the past, like our ABLE training. Those can take up a bunch of time, but some of them really have some really great information, especially for somebody who's brand new to technical services or cataloging. There's lots of screenshots with information, and we use some colors to kind of help remind you throughout the document what each of those numbers and those positions kind of mean. We link out to helpful resources that you might want to bookmark. Um, again, just lots of really wonderful, helpful information, both regarding just the background knowledge of how one catalogs, as well as some really helpful information about how to do that within Evergreen. So just some general knowledge, and then how to apply that within our ILS as well. So again, really great stuff in here for you, and I look forward for everyone to be able to get through that and provide us with any sort of feedback. Okay. I see some other questions were here in the chat. Someone asked if we are doing the advanced certification, do we also have to do the basic as well? Yes, we do the basic first and then the advanced. And that, again, at your library, there really only has to be one advanced cataloger. It takes a little bit of extra time to do both, but it really provides you, again, one with the foundational knowledge, and then two with that extra knowledge that you're going to really need to participate at the appropriate level. And again, this is going to apply to everybody, no matter what sort of background or education you might have. I, of course, am going to have to go through the basic and the advanced myself, despite, the work I put into creating it and helping with that process. Just everyone's going to have to be able to go through that process and make sure everyone's had the same information presented to them.
If I can also interject, if anybody is out there doing advanced cataloging, I have a very strong feeling you could probably go through the basic course very, very quickly and very, very easily. It would probably take you significantly less than 8 hours.
Yes.
The advanced course, maybe not so much.
Yeah, to make sure that you have as much of the content, as much of the content, you might want to read through it all. But again, there might be portions that, you might skim through if you really feel comfortable in that area. So yeah, the exact time of completion will vary by individual. Okay. Are there any other questions or points that anyone wants to bring up regarding the certification? I'll wait and check the chat. Okay. Well, if not, again, I'm going to try and make sure that we have this ready by the end of today. Oh, I do see a question here. Do we
You
send?
want me to go ahead and answer them?
Oh,
I'm going to be keeping track of who gets certified. Hopefully your supervisors will let us know who the catalogers are, or if you email me, I'll assume that you are the cataloger. The other thing about this training is that it's going to be open to anybody, regardless if they're cataloging or not. They don't need to do it, but we got some feedback the other day that maybe some of the people in circulation that move things around from one record to another, or delete items or add items, may benefit from the basic course. You can send the documents to me in any format that you want, whether it's a Google Doc, a PDF, or like a Word doc. I do not have an Apple, so don't send me any Pages files or anything like that. And I would prefer that you keep them separate documents. Do all the basic certification in one document, and then do all the advanced in another document, and just label it that way. That way I can kind of keep it straight who does what.
someone asked, didn't we give our names a while back of who is going to be doing advanced and basic? I don't know if we collected names at any point. But essentially, yeah, if we are assuming that there should be at least one person at each library who does the advanced. If we don't hear from anybody from your library, we'll probably reach out to whoever's listed as the cataloging contact, to say, hey, we haven't heard that anyone from such and such library has completed the advanced portion or the basic, or depending on what we have heard from your library, and we'll just follow up and see, hey, were you aware of this requirement? What can we do to help make sure that everyone's on the same page and can get this completed? So again, it'll all just be a matter of who we've received the completed emails from. So if Greg hasn't, excuse me, Greg will be receiving those. He'll review them and then respond to you, letting you know that you've completed that level, and it'll be recorded in our log in our shared Google Drive, where we'll be able to, keep track of who's done what when, and then, once the 6 months is up, we can go back through that and see, I haven't heard anything from anybody at Trails. Let's contact them and see why they haven't completed that, or what's going on. Um, Jamie mentioned that she remembers setting this up in some capacity. It might have been for the listserv, so I'm not sure. And maybe there was something, but I don't remember. Okay. Any other questions that I missed? Okay. If not, if not, beyond that, we just have a few things in our cataloging discussion portion. Let's talk cataloging. Specifically, I received an email or two about magazine records. My library specifically doesn't go in and catalog our magazines. A lot of them are just kind of recorded as non-cataloged items when they get checked out. But for those of you who do catalog your magazines, definitely make sure that those are being recorded as best they can be. From the examples I was given, there's definitely a lot of records out there for a lot of the same titles, so we might want to go back and consider doing some merging. Also, please know that there are requirements for our monograph parts on those. So just like with our DVDs, our magazines should be cataloged in, one record for all of Time magazine, and then we should be able to split those up into individual items and label those with our monograph parts. And so we have a document that kind of explains what those labels should look like. And that is the same one that you would go to refer for, our DVDs and other things that require parts. So actually, the magazines looks like it's the very first thing that you see. And what that should look like, it is, for the month of May of 2018, we would enter that part as 2018/05. And so definitely, if I know we all have lots of reports to get through to correct our parts and maybe some mismatched records and so on, but this is definitely something I would want y'all to keep on your records as well if you're cataloging those, and if you're not currently following these guidelines, I would highly recommend changing that so that we can kind of fix that going forward and then be able to go back hopefully later and correct a lot of those, because yeah, the magazines are looking kind of all over the place right now. I know, and it's not something we watch as closely because they're usually circulating rather locally. But for the sake of your patrons and for everybody else, it might just be best if we review that and make sure that we kind of are all on the same page. Then besides that, while the certification training is going to be very comprehensive and cover a lot of the foundational things you need to know, we could not fit everything into those. Again, it is going to cover the essentials, but if there's anything else that you feel like you would really like some training materials on once you're done with that, with the certification process, just let us know. We are wanting to be able to create a more comprehensive training program where there's these additional modules of training that you can take. If we need to make any changes to the existing certification, or just make additional content for future use, just let us know. We have some ideas of what might be helpful for our catalogers, but there might be things that we're not thinking of. So whether that be for individual topics that we might just need to cover in a meeting, or things that we need more documentation on, or even some videos, just let us know and we'd be happy to put those in consideration. I know Greg would be really happy to add some of that content there. He's done a great job, and I would be really happy to see some additional videos. So, awesome. Well, our next meeting is. Oh, I see a question already. Someone asks, is weeding covered in the training? I don't think we have a process outlined in the certification about how one weeds, since that can really vary. we can put together some, I think, actually, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place up here. Uh, we might have some resources that explain how you could use Evergreen to weed, but because that requires, it might vary by how your location is set up. For example, our library, we have several different branches, um, and how that transits from one place to another is going to vary, and what sort of statuses you want to put those in can vary depending on your situation and how long those are going to be off the shelf before they're deleted. Um, but yeah, we could put together some resources that give you some options about how we might want to weed. So I'm gonna write that down before I forget.
Kind of a segue to that, we do cover deleting items and deleting records in the trainings in there, not a weeding policy per se for everybody, but at least how to get them out of your own catalog if you need to.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, our next meeting is going to be next month, March 14th at 11 a.m. Um, and that will, like I said, also that will be the week that we have our bib record deletion and merging kind of freeze. So I'll try to remind everybody before then, but if not, I will see y'all on March 14th. Oh, and of course, if anyone forgot, you might want to put your name and your library in the chat before you leave.